Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, sir. We have Mr. Paresh.
Good
Very good.
afternoon. Mr. Paresh,
I
good
think he's
afternoon.
offline. He's just joining in.
The audience is on that platform.
Yeah, sir. We have already 49 people watching right now.
49.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Karia. How are you?
Very well. Good afternoon, Navinji. How are you?
Good, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining and thank you for this session.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We look forward. I think we already have got people already watching it, so we'll be starting soon now.
Okay, wonderful.
We still have time, man.
Yeah, we have about.
Yes, sir. We have approximately 7, 8 minutes more actually.
So let's wait. I think we'll start sharp at 3 4 at that time.
Right. Thank you.
So how are things, sir? How are things at your end?
Things are pretty good. The business has been good. We have been getting a lot of inquiries for this immigration in the current situation. So fortunately, things have been good for us. And now, even when Mumbai, the number of cases are coming down, everything has opened up. We have started office as usual, and looks like things are getting back to normal, at least over here in
Okay.
Mumbai. The
Which
business.
part of Mumbai are the offices?
So we have an office in DKC,
Okay.
and we have an office in the suburbs also, closer to where I stay.
Okay. So BKC is a central point, so it is fine, I think.
Exactly.
Easily accessible for people also that way.
Absolutely. It's easily accessible.
Though Mumbai otherwise with the traffic part is something scary, but
True. Yeah, but this part is, and nowadays the traffic is even more because the trains have still not started in Mumbai. So people have to travel to work by their private vehicles. So traffic also increased. Yes.
And with this rains also coming up, so that is also something to be really concerned when during monsoons in Mumbai it is very difficult.
True, very true. How are things there with you in Delhi?
Delhi is now improving up, sir. Last 10-15 days things have improved a lot. Vaccinations are also almost every day good numbers are being taken. So that way it is improving. So last month the situation was really bad, last to last month. But now it is improving. It is improving. We have also started our office on roster basis.
Okay.
Taking all necessary precautions and the guidelines, safety, everything we are just trying. So let's hope and keep our fingers crossed that things get better as the day passes.
Right. So your office is located at Siri Fort, right?
Yes.
Okay. I used to live over there. When I was in Delhi, I used to live over there, just behind on the other side in Panchsheel.
Oh, that is nearby.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice place.
Right. So, I'm sure there will be a lot of questions today. लोगों के पास immigration के लेके बहुत सारे questions है.
बहुत question होंगे.
Right. So I will cover the basic fundas, the basic understanding is the immigration के बारे में. And then broadly, I'm not trying to push any immigration program or anything. We will just be focusing on what are the fundamentals. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I said we'll be just focusing and clearing some misconceptions about the immigration, focusing on fundamentals, and broadly हम लोग बात करेंगे more of an education type.
Okay. So it was our Secretary General wanted to join, but he has another meeting called up by the ministry, so he is not able to. So I will be there. Mayank will be there with all of you in this program.
Wonderful.
I believe somebody from the leadership team, in the team of the leadership, in fact, is joining directly. I just got a call. So maybe leadership is not joining, but somebody from their team will join.
Good.
Okay. Wonderful.
We are also part of the leadership team. Don't worry. We report to them only. We report to them only. So
Absolutely.
see, ultimately, the point is that the audience should be there. Their questions should be answered. If there are queries and all those details, Paresh ji should get all those details. That is the basic.
Right.
So after the 5 minutes, I think we can start. We already have 80 people who are logged in.
Oh, wonderful.
Amen.
I was saying that already 80 people are there. I think we should start in absolutely at sharp 3 o'clock.
Yeah, sharp 3 we will start.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So you have been doing events, I've been seeing that. Mayank has been very, very active, and even, the entire team. I mean, this entire thing was put together, and I'm very happy with Mayank's proactiveness on this front. I was
So nice.
busy with so many other things which were happening, but he was constantly after us, and the response was prompt, and we were very happy.
Thank you so
See,
much for the kind words.
yeah, thank you for that. And I must say that he's that way very active, and that is what is required in the current scenario because timely things have to be done.
Mhm. So Mayank Inska recording this session will be recorded, right?
Yes, sir. This session is recorded and it will be available on YouTube as well. So the page which we have already shared with you, which is PhDCCI webinar / Acquest Advisors, that is going to remain. It's going to be a property which is remaining with you. So you can actually take it for reference also later on.
Wonderful. And we can, also share it with people who have not been able to attend today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sir, number is pretty phenomenal, 102 right now.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. That's great. So I will ask people from my team also to join in. So you will see them over there. And we have got about, I think हमारी तरफ से कुछ 25 या 30 लोग हमारी तरफ से भी है, clients जिनको हमने invite किया है. So
I
let
saw
us
that. I see that too. Sir, after 1 minute, I think we should start. Already there are a lot of people.
Right. I'm ready whenever you want.
Just let me know whenever you want us to start.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think sharp 3 o'clock we'll start.
Mayank, shall we?
Sir, countdown of 10, we can start.
Who is going to count? Me or you?
3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I, on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, welcome you all for this interactive session with Mr. Paresh Karia, CEO, Acquest Advisors on Business and Investment Immigration. So, Mr. Karia, we really welcome you and thank you for being with us today for this session. So, friends, I would like to give you that on Mr. Karia. First of all, please allow me to express my heartfelt appreciation to our webinar partner, Acquest Advisors, for extending their support in organizing an interactive session on much talked about subject in the current market scenario. Mr. Karia is a chartered accountant with over 15 years experience in banking, investment, advisory, immigration, and real estate. In the past, he has worked with renowned banks like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and ABN AMRO Private Banking. Due to the pandemic, the overall international investments has taken a big hit. But at the same time, the future seems to be quite promising. At the same time, the world witnessed an increase of 31,000 ultra high net worth individuals in 2019, taking the total number of such people, those with a net worth of $30 million or more, to 513,200 as per the Knight Frank Wealth Report for 2020. This translates into a 6.4% jump over 2018. India ranks 12th and had 5,986 such individuals in 2019, which is likely to reach by 10,354 by 2024. The number of billionaires in India, on the other hand, is likely to reach 113 by 2024, up from 104 in 2019. Among asset classes, India's UHNWIs are most aggressive in equity investment, with 72% willing to invest in this asset class compared to a global average of 29%. Asia is quickly closing the gap on Europe, and it is predicted that by 2024, it will be the world's second largest wealth hub, with forecast 5-year growth of 44%. Of the top 20 fastest growing countries, 6 are located in Asia, led by India with 73% growth, 5 in Europe, led by Sweden with 47% growth, and 3 are in Africa, led by Egypt with 66% growth. Wealth creation in 2020 will be an uphill task, as UHNWIs expect political and economic challenges, including a global economic slowdown, trade, wars, and political tension, to weigh on their ability. For many wealthy Indian citizens, global residency and citizenship is often an attractive option. Before I invite Mr. Karia, I would like to give a small disclaimer that the audience should make use of the due diligence in any kind of investment they plan to make in order to gain residency and citizenship. With this, I would like to leave it with Mr. Paresh Karia to take things further in explaining the benefits of different options available for citizenship in different parts of the world. So I present to you Mr. Karia. After his presentation, you can have question answers from him, and I am sure that he will be able to give you a satisfying reply on those. So over to you, Mr. Karia.
Thank you, Navinji, for that wonderful introduction and kind words. And thank you, Mayank, as well as the senior leadership team at PhD Chamber of Commerce for giving us this opportunity of participating in this webinar as an expert. PhD Chamber of Commerce has been doing a wonderful job of giving international exposure to Indian businessmen and HNIs, and thereby facilitating interaction with the global community. And we are proud to be associated with you in this endeavor. Now, immigration has been a much talked about subject. Like Navinji just said, he quoted out the figures from the Wealth Report. We are all seeing that the number of HNIs and ultra HNIs in India is increasing. There is a wealth being created, more particularly in Asian countries. And along with this wealth comes the aspirations. More and more people are now aspiring to have, better lifestyle and global footprint. So naturally, that coupled with the recent situation of COVID, etc., has given a fillip to this entire trend of immigration. So we will talk more about immigration, what are the trends, what are the various programs, etc., more in detail in the program, as we proceed in the presentation. And to start with, I would like to clear some basic concepts and fundas about immigration. So before that, I will just say a few words about our company. Let me share my presentation with you. Yeah. So as you can see over here, we are basically an immigration advisory firm based out of BKC, Mumbai, and we have offices across India. We specialize in business immigration and also immigration by investment to countries like Canada, USA, Portugal, UK, and Europe, other European countries. And we have been providing the services for some time now and have hands-on experience on various aspects like legal, banking, documentation, remittance, taxation, etc. Now, friends, we have been receiving a lot of inquiries from our clients all across India, right from Punjab to Kerala and right from Gujarat to Odisha. So number of inquiries have suddenly gone up in the last, especially in the last 6 months. More and more people are looking at exploring immigration opportunities. And also, when we talk to these clients, we realize that many of them are, already know about immigration. They have been studying this subject for some time and looking at opportunities for migrating, whereas others are just started exploring that opportunity and are in the process of knowing more. However, one thing I found in common, that there are still some misconceptions about this entire concept of immigration. There are some basic questions people call us and ask us. People they think citizenship and residency is one thing. These terms are used interchangeably. People will say that I want a foreign, residency. I want a foreign passport. I want second passport, and what will be the tax implications, etc. So what I will try to do is, in the initial part of this presentation, let us clear some of these misconceptions or myths about residency and permanent residency and citizenship, about whether one can get second passport or not. And then we will move to the second part of presentation where we talk more about immigration, various programs, various paths, what is the process, etc. Right? So first, let us look at what is the difference between permanent residency and citizenship. Like I said, conceptually and fundamentally, these are both completely different aspects. However, people are using it interchangeably. That is because both these concepts, they have certain, common benefits. They enjoy common benefits. Why people are looking at moving outside India? Now, people are looking at moving outside India to enjoy various benefits that are available, right? Like you want to live in a foreign country, you want to work there, you want your children to study over there, you want benefits like education benefits, healthcare benefits, social security, etc. So this kind of benefits are available in both, residency programs as well as citizenship programs. So it is quite natural people get mixed up. However, fundamentally, they are both different. What is permanent residency? Permanent residency means you have a right to reside permanently in a particular country while you are a citizen of another country. For example, let's say if you have an Indian passport and you have a green card to US and you are living in US, right? So you become a permanent resident of US, you can live there, you can work there, you get to enjoy all the benefits which a US resident would enjoy, like social security, healthcare, etc. But you continue to be an Indian citizen because you are holding an Indian passport. So while you are permanent residency in USA, you are an Indian citizen. A citizenship, on the other hand, means that you are a citizen by law of a particular country and you are entitled to rights and benefits in that particular country. You may be resident in some other country. Like in this example we have given, if you are an Indian passport holder and you are a US green card holder, you continue to be a citizen of India. You get all the rights and benefits in India, including right to vote, etc. You have an Indian passport, but by virtue of having permanent residency in US, you continue to have the benefits of living there, working there, staying there. So you have a dual kind of a benefit. Now, examples are, of permanent residency. What are the examples? The US green card, the Canada PR, the golden visas that we have in Europe. These are all examples of permanent residency. On the other hand, passports, you get passports of particular country like US, Canadian passport, British passport, Portuguese passport, etc. Let us look at how one can get this, permanent residency. The most popular way of getting permanent residency up to now have been through family sponsorship, right? So if you have your parents or some relative, let's say based in USA, and they sponsor you to come to USA, then you will become eligible to move to USA by virtue of this sponsorship. Now, this program, however, it has become, while it was very popular in the past, of late, we have seen that it takes a very long time, very, very long time to get permanent residency through this route. When it comes to USA, We have people who have been waiting for 15 years and 20 years to get the permanent residency under this route. The second popular way of obtaining permanent residency has been, of course, through work. You work overseas, you get a work permit. On the basis of that, you move to that country, you work over there, you stay for a certain number of years, and then you become eligible to apply for the permanent residency of that particular country. The most common example has been the H-1B visa for the US. We know there are so many people who go to US on H-1B visa and then they're settled down over there. However, of late, this route has also become very difficult. We know what are the problems associated with H-1B visa and what H-1B visas are going through. It is no longer easy to get, move to residency, permanent residency through this kind of visa. So even this route has become difficult. Another route which is becoming more popular nowadays is through business. If you have set up a business in overseas countries, then you can move over there. You can go on over there on a temporary work permit, and then when you continue to live over there, develop your business. And after you have developed your business over there, you become entitled to permanent residency. So countries like Canada and UK are offering this kind of programs in a very wide way. And of course, the most popular route nowadays has been, getting permanent residency through investment. Now, this is the easiest route, provided you have the money. All you need to do is make certain investments, and it's a passive way. Just by simply making an investment, you become eligible to get permanent residency of that country. You can move there and start enjoying all the benefits. Let us look at how one can get citizenship. Right. The first way in the most natural way of getting citizenship is by birth. If you are born in a particular country or your children are born in that particular country, then by default, they become a citizenship of that country. The second route, of course, is through ancestry. So if your parents are born in a particular country or your grandparents are born in a particular country, then you may also become eligible for citizenship of that particular country. The other route is after permanent residency. We have seen earlier, that how one can get permanent residency in a foreign country. After getting permanent residency, of course, you have to live over there for a certain number of days. And after a certain number of years, let's say 5 years or 10 years, if you have met the certain conditions, then you become eligible to apply for citizenship of that country. And the last route, again, which is very popular nowadays, and it is the easiest route, is through investment. Just like you have residency by investment programs, you have citizenship by investment country programs, where you do a particular investment in a certain country and you get the citizenship of that country. Right, friends? So these are some of the differences between permanent residency and citizenship. Let's explore this further. Right? How much time does it take to get a permanent residency? So generally, friends, it could take anywhere from 6 months to 3 years or even more to get a permanent residency status for a particular country. For example, in case of Canada, it could take you 6 months for certain qualified people. We know the express entry route through which certain young and qualified people can get permanent residency in as less as 6 months. Whereas there are certain programs where you have to wait for 5 years to get your permanent residency. When it comes to US, it is generally, through the route. If you go through the EB route, which is a very popular program and which is very much in news of last 2 days. So it takes you generally about 2 to 3 years to get permanent residency through the EB5 route. If you go through the sponsorship route where one of your relative, your parents, brother, sister sponsors you, then it could take you 20 years or even more to get permanent residency. When we talk about the other program, which is, Portugal Golden Visa program, which is a very popular program for getting residency of a European country, there it could take you anywhere between 6 months to 1 year to get permanent residency. Now, when it comes to citizenship, let us look at what are the options for direct citizenship. If there are options where you can directly invest and get a passport, particularly the Caribbean countries. Caribbean countries have been offering the passport in return for that investment, and it's well known. There are countries like Grenada, Saint Lucia, Antigua, Saint Kitts, etc. These countries, you just pay them money and you can get a passport. Then there are some other countries in Europe, particularly Malta. Malta is a very popular country in Europe, which offers citizenship by investment. You need to invest, certain amount of money, and depending upon how much money you invest, you can get a citizenship or a passport within 1 to 3 years. The other route of getting a citizenship is, of course, after permanent residency. We have seen in the previous slide that how you can obtain permanent residency of different countries. Now, after you have got permanent residency, if you live in that country for a certain number of years, and if you fulfill conditions regarding the minimum number of days to stay in that particular country, then you become eligible for applying for citizenship of that country, let's say after 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever is the requirement. For instance, in case of Canada, if you are living in Canada continuously for 3 years, if you have been in Canada for 1095 days in total, then you can immediately become eligible to apply for citizenship. Similarly, in case of US, after 5 years of permanent residency status, you can apply for a US citizenship, provided you have lived in US for a certain minimum number of days. Again, in case of Portugal, after 5 years, you become eligible to apply for Portuguese citizenship. This is one of the easiest route, again, because in case of Portugal, the minimum stay requirement is very, very liberal. All you need to do is, during this 5 years of maintaining your permanent residency, you need to stay in Portugal only for 7 days in a year, right? So which is very easy. You can continue living in your home country. You visit Portugal for 7 days in a year. You maintain your residency condition for 5 years, and after 5 years, you can apply for Portuguese citizenship. Right? Let us look at what is the validity period, of this permanent residency. So all these permanent residency programs are valid for a period of 5 years or 10 years, post which you need to renew them. And the renewal depends upon the number of days that you spend in that particular country, right? If you have taken up a permanent residency of a particular country, naturally it means that you intend to stay in that particular country. Now, if you don't stay in, for at least a certain number of days in that country, then obviously they will say that if you're not staying here, why do you need permanent residency? And they may not renew your PR card. So most of the countries have these conditions. Like in case of Canada, after 5 years, you have to renew your permanent residency if in case you are not going for citizenship. And you have to live in Canada for at least 730 days in aggregate during this 5-year period. Similarly, in case of US, after 5 years, you can renew your permanent residency if you're not going for citizenship. And for that, the condition is generally you should have been remained in USA for 50% of the time during this period of 5 years. When it comes to Portugal, like we already discussed earlier, this is the easiest program. Here, after 5 years, you become eligible for citizenship. And during this 5 years, you need to stay in Portugal only for 7 days a year. When it comes to citizenship, now citizenship is for lifetime. Once you have a citizenship or a passport of a particular country, there is no need to renew. It remains for lifetime. And you don't need to even fulfill any conditions regarding stay. Like, for example, we mentioned a case earlier. Suppose you have an Indian passport and you have a US permanent residency and you are living in US, you are not staying in India, you still continue to hold Indian passport, you still continue to be Indian citizen, right? So friends, these are some of the basic fundamental differences between citizenship and residency. Now, let us look at what are the popular programs, residency programs and citizenship programs, which is in continuation with this. Right? So when it comes to permanent residency, these are some of the popular programs. For US, we have the EB5 visa, which is, where you can get a residency by investment. You need to invest $9 lakh, which is roughly about 6.5 crores in a particular kind of a project, which is called a regional center project. And you can get permanent residency over there. Similarly, in case of Canada, Canada used to have this program, Quebec Investor Program, whereby you need to invest 1.2 million Canadian dollars with a bank, or a financial institution approved by the Quebec government. Quebec is a province in Canada. So the provincial government will tell you where to invest the money. You place the money with them for 5.5 years, and you become eligible for getting permanent residency in Canada. When it comes to Europe, the Golden Visa program has been quite popular. There are many countries in Europe who have been offering this program. However, the most popular among them have been, of course, the Portugal Golden Visa, whereby you need to start investment anywhere from 280,000 euros to 500,000 euros, which is between 2.5 crores to about 4.5 crores is what you need to invest in a property, and you can get the Golden Visa. Similarly, in the case of Greece, you need to invest 250,000 in real estate. And in case of Spain, the amount is 500,000, again in a property or a real estate. So through this investment in real estate, you can get the Golden Visa and acquire permanent residency of this European countries. The other country, of course, UK also has an investment program, but this is one of the most expensive program. That's why not too many people are going for it. The minimum investment over here is 2 million sterling pound, which is almost 20 crores. So doing an investment of 20 crores just to get a permanent residency is not, feasible for all. Of course, there are some people who can afford and they are doing it, but generally it is popular among very, very small segment of our super HNI clientele. Ireland again has a similar program where you need to invest 1 million euros, which is about 9 crores, to get residency, permanent residency in Ireland. Now, as we all know, friends, Ireland is now a part of European Union. So that is why you need to do investment in euros over there. Let us look at the popular citizenship by investment programs. Like we mentioned earlier, there are Caribbean countries, like Grenada, Antigua, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, etc., which offer citizenship in return for an investment. All you need to do is, pay them about $150,000 as a donation or a contribution, and they will issue you your passport. And this happens very quickly. You can get these passports within 3 months. Generally people take this kind of investments and this kind of Caribbean country passports because they want global mobility. However, one needs to be careful when you are buying a citizenship of these countries for global mobility. You need to have a close look to see what all countries you can travel. Does it offer visa-free travel to countries where you would like to travel or where you have the need to travel, right? When it comes to Europe, Malta is, one of the popular countries which offers citizenship by investment, and there, you can get the passport for Malta, which is again a part of European Union. You can get it as early as within 1 year if you do a contribution or a donation of 750,000 euros or 6.75 crores. So it is a kind of non-refundable contribution which you have to make to the Maltese government, and you get a passport. Now, the advantage of getting a European passport or a Maltese passport, whether it is directly by citizenship, like in case of Malta, or by way of permanent residency first and then citizenship, like in case of Portugal, the advantage is that once you have a European Union passport, you can travel freely, live freely. You become a citizen of European Union. So you get access to all the 27 European Union countries, for countries like France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, etc. You have a right to travel there. You can live there. You can work there and study there and enjoy all the benefits like education, healthcare, etc. So you become, part of a larger European Union, the umbrella. Again, we have another country called Montenegro, who has recently started offering citizenship by investment. They offer passport in lieu of investment. Montenegro is a very small country, very beautiful, picturesque country in East Europe. They have this program under which you need to make a donation of 1 lakh euro and also invest in a real estate anywhere from 250,000 euros or 450,000 euros, depending upon which part of the country you are investing. Right? So friends, we have seen these are some of the popular permanent residency and citizenship programs available. We have seen what is the difference between permanent residency and citizenship and what are the options available to you. Now, again, there is another question which we have been getting a lot. People call up, they tell us that I want a second passport, I want a dual citizenship, can I get a second passport? What will be the tax implications if I have an Indian passport and the second passport? And this terms, of dual citizenship or second passport is being used very, very casually. People are not aware about the various factors and fundamentals of dual citizenship or second passport in terms of being used very loosely. So now let us try to understand what is a passport, what is citizenship, and whether as Indians citizens, whether we can get a second passport or not. If not, what are the options available? Right? So what is the definition of citizenship? Now, citizenship is a legal status that a person belongs to a particular country, and it is recognized under the law. Under the Constitution of India, we are recognized to be citizen of India. And by virtue of this, recognition or citizenship, we are entitled to certain rights as well as obligations in that particular country. So citizenship is a legal status which is recognized under the Constitution, and it comes with certain rights and benefits. A passport, on the other hand, is a document which is issued by the government of a country to its citizens, right? So passport does not by itself confer citizenship. It is given only to people who are citizens of that particular country. So you have to become a citizen of that particular country first in order to get the passport, right? It serves as a proof of citizenship, of course, and it also enables you to travel internationally. So these are the two main functions of a passport: A, proof of citizenship, and B, it allows you to travel internationally. Now, mind you, we need to keep in mind that all passport holders have to be a citizen of that particular country. However, all citizens need not be passport holders. And we know this is very common in India. We know there are so many citizens in India who do not have passport. You would be knowing many of your friends, relatives, or people still don't have passport. So that is very much possible. When it comes to Indian passport, the passport is issued by Ministry of External Affairs. And the ranking of our passport on the global passport ranking is 81. The reason why it is 81 is because our passport will allow you to travel to only 61 countries as of today, right? So these are mostly Asian, African, and Caribbean countries. Now, let's come to the moot question. Whether can I get a second passport? Whether can I take a citizenship? The answer, what is the meaning of a second passport or a dual passport? A dual passport or a multiple citizenship means that it is a legal status that a person is citizen of more than one country at the same time. So for example, you are a citizen of UK, you are a citizen of US, and you are a citizen of Canada at the same time. You are entitled to rights and benefits in all these countries. You can choose to live in any of these countries. You can get the healthcare, education benefits, travel benefits in all these countries. And the biggest advantage of holding a dual passport, or multiple passport, is that it increases your global mobility. So you can travel to more number of countries visa-free. As we know, each country allows you to visa-free travel to certain number of countries, right? So if you have more passports, you have more visa-free access to different countries. So these are the advantages of having multiple citizenship or passport. Now, again, the main question: can we Indian citizens have dual citizenship or more than one passport? The answer is clearly no. The Indian Constitution does not allow an Indian citizen to acquire a foreign citizenship while having an Indian citizenship. So what happens if you acquire a foreign citizenship? Right? You automatically lose Indian citizenship once you acquire a foreign passport. So it is by default, it is automatic. And not only that, you have to, once you have acquired a foreign passport, you need to go and surrender your Indian passport. Otherwise, you will face penalty. Now, having said that, after you have acquired a foreign citizenship and given up Indian citizenship, you do get a benefit of becoming an overseas citizen of India. So you get what is known as the OCI card, and which gives you largely, most of the benefits which an Indian citizen would enjoy. We will talk more about that in detail of how to get OCI card, what are the benefits in the next slide. So here, let's talk about what is OCI. So friends, many of you would have heard from your relatives and friends who are abroad that they have got an OCI card. Now, what is an OCI card? An OCI card is given to a person who has OCI status. Now, OCI status means that you become an overseas citizen of India. It is a kind of a permanent residency status given to people of Indian origin who have taken up foreign citizenship. Right? So it's something similar to, let's say, a US green card. A US green card is given to a person of a foreign country, a foreign citizen, so he can live and work and stay in United States and enjoy the benefits. So similarly, when you acquire a foreign passport, you will be given an OCI status, which is similar to being a permanent resident in India, and you can get a lot of benefits which Indian citizens enjoy. How do we get OCI card? Well, the process is very simple, friends. All you have to do is go to this website over here, submit certain documents, pay the fees, apply online, and you will get your OCI card. So process is very simple. You can apply for it, if you are a foreign citizen, you can apply for it either from your home country, or you can also apply for it from India. Now, what are the benefits and limitations of OCI card? The first,
apologies, can you share the presentation once again? I think presentation is not there.
Yeah, just 1 minute. Can you see it now, Mike?
Not right now, sir.
I will have to stop sharing and start it again.
My screen is showing. It was visible till now, but just now it actually got.
Yeah, let me just start it. Apologies for this. Yeah, I've stopped sharing. Can you see it now?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. Right, friends. So now let us look at what are the benefits and limitations of this, OCI card. The first and the biggest advantage is that you get a lifelong multiple entry visa to India. You can travel on the basis of this. You can travel visa free to India as many times as you want, freely, no questions asked. You can stay in India for as long as you want, and you can come here for any purpose. And once you are in India, you can live here for as long as you want. You can work here, you can study here, you can continue doing your business. You can also own assets, and if required, if you decide that after a certain number of years that you want to become a citizen of India again, you can apply for Indian citizenship. So of course, subject to certain conditions of livability, etc. So friends, now let us look at what benefits you will have to give up in order to get, if you take up foreign citizenship and get OCI card. The first thing is, of course, since you are not a citizen of India, you cannot vote. The second thing is you cannot run for public office. You cannot go for any kind of elections or stand for any public office. And the third and the relatively less known fact is that you cannot buy agricultural land or plantation in India, right? Because you are a foreign citizen now. And foreign citizens are not allowed to buy agricultural land or plantation in India. And however, You can continue to hold whatever land you have. You can continue to inherit. If you have ancestral property, which is agricultural land, and you get it by inheritance, you can continue to have that, but you cannot buy new agricultural land. So having looked at, the citizenship and permanent residency now, let us look at what are the options or solutions available to Indian citizens or, persons of Indian origin who want to have the benefit of having, for access to foreign country, living there, working there, as well as, having roots in India and having connection with India. So the first solution would be that you take up a foreign permanent residency while continuing to hold the Indian passport. You will have Indian passport and you will have a foreign permanent residency, let's say a US green card. So through which, because of your foreign permanent residency, you can live, work, and study in a foreign country. You can own assets over there. You can, undertake your business. You get all the benefits like education, healthcare, social security, retirement, etc. And, it's just like the benefits which your local residents of that country get, you will be entitled to all of that. Plus, since you have an Indian passport, you can travel freely to India. You can work here, stay here, do whatever you want. The disadvantage of this agreement is, of course, since you are having permanent residency in a foreign country, and we have seen earlier that foreign permanent residency, we have to keep renewing it every 5 years or 10 years. The second, now again related to that, is if you have a permanent residency, then you need to live in that country for a certain number of years to maintain your permanent residency condition in that country. And the last disadvantage is that since you are having an Indian passport, you are restricted to the number of countries to which you can travel. Right? Now, the second solution is that you give up Indian citizenship, you take foreign citizenship, and you also take Oci card. So once you have a foreign passport, of course, the biggest advantage of giving up Indian citizenship and taking foreign citizenship is most of the countries, like US, UK, Canada, they allow dual citizenship. So you can not only take citizenship of, let's say, US, you can also take Canadian citizenship, UK citizenship, etc. You have a right to live, work, and travel in these countries where you are a citizen, and you get all the benefits, education, healthcare, social security, etc. in those countries. Now, again, the other advantages, of course, since you are a citizen of that country, you don't have to renew your permanent residency, and you don't need to meet the conditions of staying in those particular country for a certain minimum number of days. And of course, the biggest advantage is you get a foreign passport, and passport of countries like UK, US, Canada, etc. are quite powerful, and they give you, a lot of rights, visa-free travel rights to many countries across the world. Right? Now, what are the disadvantages of this position? The first disadvantage is, of course, it takes a lot of time to get citizenship of a particular foreign country. Like we have seen in the earlier slides, first you need to become a permanent resident. After permanent residency, you need to fulfill the conditions of staying in that country for a certain minimum number of years. You have to wait for maybe 5 years, 10 years or so, and only after that you will become the citizen. Then, of course, since you are a foreign citizen and not a citizen of India, you cannot vote in India, or even though you have an Oci card, you cannot vote in India. And like we saw earlier, you cannot buy agricultural land or plantation in India. Right, friends? So now I hope, we have discussed these two concepts of permanent residencies and citizenship. We have also discussed whether one can have, whether, Indians cannot have a second passport, then what are the solutions, what are the combinations available. And now let us move to our next part of this presentation, where we talk about what are this happening currently in the immigration world. Like I said, over the past few days, the number of inquiries for people wanting to immigrate outside India has been increasing, for whatever reasons. Is it because of the pandemic? Is it because of, the business situation or whatever? And like Navinji said, The number of people, wealthy people, is also increasing. So people have more money and they would like to invest overseas and get, a second an alternative residency. So all these reasons combined together have been contributing to this factor of more and more people looking at moving outside India. And this trend is, only got accelerated of late. It has started about 2 years back. If we see in 2018, of course, we as Indians traditionally have been migrating even many years ago. I know my great grandfather had migrated to Africa from India during the British times. So Indians have been known for migrating to foreign countries. Earlier, the reasons have been economic. However, now the reasons are beyond economic. People are looking at migrating outside India for several reasons. We will see that in the next slide. But yes, the trend is even the rich, wealthy, and talented people are now looking at migrating India. Navinji had quoted certain numbers from that report, and you can see over here, I have got an older data where we can see that, more and more millionaires are now looking at migrating outside India. And the popular countries up till now have been, of course, US, UK, and Canada. And primarily because these are English speaking countries and we are comfortable over there. We have, many of us have our friends and relatives in that country. So we have some kind of bonding and we have some relationship and, of course, language and culture. So because of that, these programs have been very popular. The most popular, of course, had been the US program. So most US had been the most popular destination, be it for business, be it for lifestyle, be it for work, be it for studies. It had always been the preferred destination. And this is evident by the fact that, the popularity of the EB5 visa, the visa which, gives you permanent residency through investment, the demand for that had gone up almost 400 times among Indians over the last, 3 years. In fact, this was one area where we even beat the China. The number of applications from India for EB5 program was 756 in 219, whereas that from China, which has always been the leader, so far, and the immigration industry, was 351. However, we have seen that during the last 2 years, there has been slight change. We had seen that the investment amount for EB5 has increased from $500,000 to $900,000. So now $900,000 is a huge amount. And again, there are some restrictions of FEMA, etc. Plus, there have been certain uncertainties we all know with regard to what was happening in US. So because of all these factors combined together, we found that the US had lost its charm and more people were looking at an alternative to US, and which was Canada. So the number of inquiries for Canada have gone up. More and more people are looking at now migrating to Canada. And Canada offers multiple programs. Apart from investment, they've got various other programs and they are very keen to have immigrants. And of course, of late, we have seen that programs from countries like Portugal, the Portugal Golden Visa program has also become popular because, like we have seen, it is very easy. You just have to invest money. You don't even need to go and stay over there. You invest money and you have an option of an alternative permanent residency. Another trend that we have been noticing of late, friends, has been the talent migration. We are seeing more and more talented people. Governments all over the world are trying to attract talented people, and they have what is known as the startup visa or the innovator visa, through which they're trying to attract young and innovative entrepreneurs who have very good ideas and have been successful in executing those ideas in India. They want to move abroad to UK, to Canada, and various other countries and set up the innovative business over there. So we are seeing, apart from migration of wealthy people, there is also talent migration which is taking place. Right now, yes, of course, most of you are looking at immigration options, and that's why you are here. You joined us here today in this webinar. Now, I would say that immigration is a very, very important decision in your life for you as well as your family. And it has to be done very, very carefully. You need to take a decision very carefully. And it's just like, graduating from school or completing your education or getting married or buying your first house, it can have far-reaching impact not only on you but on your future generation. So you need to really think through the entire process very carefully. You need to not only plan your proper journey, that which country you want to go, but which path you are going to choose to achieve your immigration objective. And you need to do this based on your goals. What are your immigration goals? What is your profile? What is your lifestyle? What is your financial situation? Based on all this, you need to take a decision. We have a lot of people who are coming to us to tell us which is the fastest way to immigrate, what is the easiest way to immigrate, what is the cheapest way to immigrate. Well, friends, I usually give them an example. I usually tell them that, look, if you want to travel from Delhi to Mumbai, you have various options. If you want to travel comfortably and you want to travel quickly, then you can travel by flight. If you want to travel in an economic way, then you can take a train, right? So it all depends upon what are your objectives and what are your circumstances. So again, there is no fastest, quickest, or cheapest way. The way has to match what is your objective and what what is your financial situation. Now, what has been our approach to our approach to immigration? Like, been a financial advisor, I have been a banker and an investment advisor, and we have been following the financial planning approach even for our immigration. So as you know, when it comes to financial planning, first, the most important thing is to decide what is your investment objective. What is the purpose for which you are investing this money to keep it aside? Then, of course, comes your profiling. What is your age? What is your family situation? What is, how much risk are you willing to take, etc. And then we look at what are the money available. Based on this, we arrive at an asset allocation. So much money in equity, so much money in debt, so much money in gold, real estate, etc. And then we go deeper and shortlist individual investment options from the broader asset allocation. Similarly, when it comes to immigration, I think immigration, especially immigration by investment, the process is similar. We first look at what is your immigration objective? Why do you want to go abroad? Whether it is, for yourself, or is it for your family, or is it for your children? Whether you want to go there for, good lifestyle, or whether you want to go there and actively engage in a business. We do your profiling. What is your business experience? What is your educational qualification, etc. We see what is the money available for you, and based on that, we select the right program in the right country in that particular country, and within the country, what are the right programs. And then we go deep down further and look at what are the investment options available to execute your immigration objective and plan. Now, due to paucity of time, I will not be able to explain to you this process in detail, but I would like to focus more on one of the more key, components of this process, and that is your immigration objective. That is the starting point. So you need to be clear what is your immigration objective, right, friends? So we have been talking to hundreds of customers over the past few years, and based on our experience and discussion with these clients, we have realized that these are the four broad objectives. Majority of the people want to go abroad for either one of these objectives. First, and the most popular is, of course, children's education and settlement abroad, right? Thereafter, we have seen people want to move abroad to enjoy a good quality of life. The other option is, of course, business expansion and diversification. And this has been becoming popular of late. And other, again, objective, which has suddenly come up now, it was not popular up till now, but over the last 2 years, we have seen this coming up, is where people are looking at plan B or an alternative option, that they need to have an alternative. Should something go wrong in their home country, they have an option of moving abroad. And also, they are looking at global mobility. They want to travel freely. They don't want to keep on applying for visas when more and more people have started traveling globally, and they want ease of travel. If they have a good passport, they can travel freely. They need not apply for visa every time they have to travel. So let us look at each of these objectives in detail. Children's education. Well, friends, as you know, we Indians attach a lot of importance to this. We really care for, the education and settlement of our children and are willing to go to any extent to achieve this objective. So, of course, in the past, also many people have been sending their children abroad, and traditionally the route has been that you first, get a student visa, you go there, you study over there in a foreign country. After completing your education, you get a job over there, you get a work permit, and after working in that particular country for a certain number of years, you become eligible for permanent residency and you apply for permanent residency. So this has been the traditional route. However, there are certain hurdles to this route, and especially of late, we have seen this route facing some difficulty. Right, the first hurdle is, of course, when you send your children abroad for education, they are going there as international students and they have to pay very high fee. They usually end up paying almost 4 times to 5 times of what a local student will pay. The second thing which has become very accentuated of late is that it is very difficult for you to get a work permit, after you have completed your studies. We all know what is happening with the H-1B visa, how very few people are able to get the H-1B visa. And without a work permit, it is not possible for you to stay over there. And we have heard horror stories about children who have gone to countries like US, UK, and Australia for education. After completing the education, they have not been able to get job over there, especially in the current situation, like COVID, etc. It's so difficult to get jobs overseas, and children are having to come back to India after that, completing their education overseas. Now, what is the solution? What is the option? And what are the trends nowadays? So nowadays that we are seeing is that, people who are planning to send their children abroad for education, they prefer to get a permanent residency first, and thereafter they send their children for education. Now, this has several advantages. This option has several advantages. Of course, the first advantage is that once you send your children as a residents, there is substantial saving on fees. You need to pay just 1/4 or 1/5 of the fees which you would have paid as an international student. And if you have more than one children, then of course the benefit will definitely go up because you save this fees on all your children. The second advantage is that if your children have permanent residency in a particular country, they stand a better chance of getting a job in that country, right? The preference is always given to them. Today, if your children are studying in US and if they need to get an H-1B visa in order to continue on their job, there are very few companies who are ready to sponsor them. But if your children have permanent residency over there, they have a green card, they don't need to get a work permit, and there are more companies who are willing to offer job to them. The other advantage is, of course, that when your children are studying over there, you can also move over there and stay with your children and support them while they are studying. And of course, the last but not the least, since you have a permanent residency, you can also move to that country and enjoy a good quality of life. So friends, these are the advantages of taking a PR first and then sending your children abroad for education. However, in order to achieve this objective, you need to plan much in advance. And this is where we are finding that a lot of people are lacking. We have clients who are coming to us, who come to us typically when the children are ready to go to abroad, for studies, when the children are about 18 years of age. And that's when they start, looking at these options. And by that time, it is too late for them to get permanent residency because under most of the programs, they do not allow adult children to get permanent residency. Under the family permanent residency plan, you can only include children who are, not adult and children who are dependent on you. So let's say, if your child is, and we have seen that the permanent residency, the process takes anywhere 2 to 3 years for you to get permanent residency. So if you start the process looking at permanent residency process when your child is 18 years old, by the time you complete it, he may be 20, 21, or even 22, and he may not be eligible to get permanent residency with you. So ideal situation is that you should start planning. If you have intention of sending your children abroad for education, you should start planning on these lines when the children are at the age of 13 or 14, so that you have enough time that you get a permanent residency by the time they are 16, 17, and they go move abroad as permanent residents and they enjoy all the tuition benefits. The other objective, that we are looking at people going abroad is, of course, for business expansion or diversification. Many of you have done quite well in your business. You have been very successful. You have worked out. Now you have arrived at here in your life, and now you would like to, you have become ambitious. You have become confident, and you would like to grow your business internationally. You want to go global. So why not, move yourself over there and your family over there along with your business? So with this idea, the concept of business immigration is gaining a lot of popularity, where not only you can take your business overseas, but you can move there with your family. So these are some of the programs which helps you to achieve that. When it comes to US, we have the EB-5 direct program. Earlier in the presentation, we spoke about the EB-5 program through where you can get permanent residency through investment. Now, similarly, under the same program, you can also get permanent residency if you invest in your own business. So if you are going to invest about $1.8 million or even lesser amount in certain cases, then you can get permanent residency by investing in your own business. However, this is easier said than done, because apart from investing the money, you also need to create minimum 10 jobs in US, and you need to maintain them. So it's not an easy task of creating the jobs and paying salary to the people, irrespective of how your business is doing. So although this route is available, it is not very popular. So compared to US, Canada has a more friendly business immigration program. So under this, Canada Business Immigration Program, you can move over there. You just need to invest about 2 lakh Canadian dollars, which is about 1.2 crores in your own business. And the conditions with regard to job creation, etc., are also not very stringent, So it is much easier to migrate to Canada under the business immigration route. Although it may take a longer time, but nevertheless, the investment amount is not very high, and you are investing in your own business, right? So other option is, this is what we are talking about, a new business. Now, we had seen earlier, how some countries are encouraging more and more talented people to come there and set up innovative business. So if you have an innovative business, if you have a unique business idea, let's say you have some kind of an, technology, some kind of an app, innovative app, or a software platform, or maybe some kind of a product, patented product, or a process which is unique, which is innovative, and you have successfully implemented and proven yourself in India. And now you can take this concept, idea, business overseas, and you can become eligible for getting permanent residency. So Canada is one country which offers what is known as the Startup Visa Program. So under this program, if you have innovative business which you want to take global, then the Canadian government will invite you to come and set it up in Canada. There are certain conditions to be met. Of course, you have to prove that your business is indeed innovative and you have a good track record of having executed this business in your home country. And not only will you get permanent residency, you can also get funding or support from financial institutions specializing in supporting startups in Canada. The process is also very fast. You can get direct permanent residency in maybe 1 to 1.5 years' time. Similarly, like Canada, UK also have a business innovator program. So under this program, if you have an innovative business idea, you can get it approved by an endorsing body in UK, and then you can apply for, a visa. You get a 3-year visa to move to UK and set up your business. After you have successfully set up your business in UK and have met certain conditions with regard to, turnover, employment generation, etc., you can become eligible for permanent residency over there. Now look at business expansion. Many of you have existing business, and now you would like to expand this existing business itself overseas and take it global. So one of the popular way of doing that is you can set up a branch or a subsidiary of an existing business in this overseas countries. Like for instance, in USA, you can get L1 visa to do that. In Canada, we have what is known as intercompany transfer visa. And in UK, we have what is known as sole representative visa. All this kind of visas are very similar in the sense that they allow, this visas are issued, these are linked to the business. So it is an existing business. If you have a fairly well-established business with reasonable amount of turnover and number of employees, and you have branches, etc., you can show that you are a fairly large business, and now you can want to expand to any of these countries. You can justify the case for expansion. Then you can easily get the visa to move over there. And these are like work permits. Initially you will get a work permit, you move over there, you set up your business over there, and after living there for certain number of years and fulfilling certain other conditions, you may become eligible for permanent residency. Now, this kind of programs are suitable, for family businesses. If you have a family business, then certain members of the family can continue to be in India and run the business over here, whereas some members can go abroad and spread their wings abroad and expand business overseas. Right? Now, however, this is again not very easy. The fundamental concept is that the main business has to be in India. It has to continue in India and grow in India. And just a branch of this business is being set up in overseas country. Again, now another objective which many of you are looking at it, you have worked hard in your life, you have arrived in your life. Now you would want to enjoy the fruits of all your hard work and live a good quality life in some overseas country. So for those of you who are pursuing this objective, then these are the various options available. For instance, if you are looking at USA, then you have the EB5 Regional Center program, which we said is a very passive program. All you need to do is invest about 6.5 crores in a project in US, and you will get your permanent residency over there. Of course, there are other requirements also. You need to do detailed source of fund documentation. You need to prove how have you earned the money and so on and so forth. But if you are able to prove that, then this process is very easy. Just invest money and get permanent residency. Right now, for those of you who do not want to commit such a large investment, you also have similar options available for Europe through Portugal Golden Visa. A Portugal Golden Visa is again an permanent residency program through investment, and this is even more simple than the US immigration program. All you need to do over here is invest 280,000 euros to 500,000 euros in a property in Portugal. And you continue to own this property. You can rent it out. You can stay over here if you want, and it remains under your control. And the documentation requirements are also minimal. You don't need too lengthy documentation. There is no interview, there is no point system, etc. under this program. And also the stay condition, like we discussed in the earlier part of the presentation, in order you become eligible for getting the residency, for getting citizenship after 5 years, and permanent residency is immediately available. And in order to maintain your permanent residency status, you need to stay in Portugal only for 7 days in a year. Of course, you can live there permanently if you choose to, but if you are not in a position to stay there, you can continue to be in your home country. You can continue to be in your home country and just visit Portugal once a year for 7 days to meet the condition. Also, for those of you who are looking at retiring, Portugal is again a very popular destination. In fact, Portugal remains the #1 destination for retirement in the world. That is because Portugal offers a very good, it offers a very good climate. It offers sunshine throughout the year. It is very conveniently located in Europe. It has beautiful beaches. It has beautiful, tourist spots, etc. And above all, the cost of living. The cost of living compared to other European countries, Portugal is quite affordable. so you can enjoy a good life. And we have seen that a lot of people, recently in the last 1 year, we have seen a lot of people from USA applying for Portuguese residency through the Golden Visa program. Of course, we know that people from UK, from France, etc., have been buying properties and moving to Portugal for retirement. But now with US also, this trend has started where Americans want to move to Portugal. Now, let us look at the last option, last motive, where we spoke about having a plan B or global mobility. Here again, I would say that, Portugal scores very easily. A plan B means that you don't want to move to a foreign country immediately, but you want to create an option so that should a situation arise, for whatever reason, if there is a situation like, let's say, COVID, or there is political instability, then you want to have a plan B that you can move somewhere should the situation arise. So from this point of view, the Portugal Golden Visa program is the most optimal because, like I said, that you can continue to live in your home country, you can continue conducting your affairs, and you don't need to move to Portugal. You have an option. If you want to, you can go there anytime, but it is not necessary for you. All you have to do is just stay for 7 days in a year. And if you continue doing this for 5 years, after 5 years, you become eligible for getting Portuguese citizenship. And the Portuguese passport, like, is one of the most powerful passport, and you can get visa-free travel to more than 180 countries. Plus, you have a right to settle anywhere in any of these 27 European Union countries. Right? So both your objectives of having a plan B as well as global mobility can be achieved through this program. Right, friends? So we have seen what are the various immigration programs. We have seen what are the main objectives people have for pursuing immigration and what are the programs available to meet your various objectives. Now, apart from, the immigration process, we also need to keep in mind that we need to comply with the rules and regulations in our home country. For the purpose of immigration, we need to comply with the immigration laws and other investment laws of the foreign country, of course, but we also have to comply with the rules and regulations in our home country. And this is one factor which is being overlooked. There are a lot of people who are taking foreign citizenship, who are making investments and are not even aware of what is the rules in India that they have to comply with. So let us look at it so that we are aware when we are taking a decision that this is something we need to keep in mind. So first and foremost is that whenever you are investing overseas, India, we do not have full convertibility. There is only limited amount of money which we can send outside India, and we have to do it in accordance with the guidelines of RBI. So RBI has, of course, liberalized these provisions now. They have provided what is known as the liberalized remittance scheme. Under the liberalized remittance scheme, every individual, member. So if in case your case, every member of your family can remit up to 250,000 US dollars outside India for the purpose of investment, expenditure, education, etc. every financial year. So in every financial year, you can remit 250,000 US dollars outside India. And if there are 4 people in the family, 250 into 4, it becomes $1 million. So that is what you can send outside India. You can keep it in a bank account. You can keep it in a fixed deposit. You can invest in real estate, shares, mutual funds. You can spend on education, whatever. This is the limit which is available to you. Now, however, it is while it is easy to remit the money, we need to keep certain things in mind. There are certain provisions. It's not that easy. You need to keep in mind. It's not that everybody, can contribute and buy just one single asset. There is something known as a clubbing provision under the RBI rules. So the clubbing provisions may apply. So we need to keep it in mind. We need to plan it properly. We need to document it whenever we are sending money out of India for the purpose of investment. The other important, thing that we need to keep in mind is the source of fund documentation. Well, some of you who would have looked at the American, immigration under EB-5 would be aware about this terminology. Whereas, let me explain to you, the source of fund documentation means that you have to demonstrate to a particular foreign country where you are migrating, where have you got the money from for the purpose of investment? Whether you have earned it, how have you earned it, or whether you have got it as inheritance, whether you have got it as gift, you need to show the source of fund to ensure that it is legitimate money which you are investing. Now, this requirement is there not only in overseas country, but also nowadays Indian authorities have become more stringent. Not only are there more disclosure requirements, but the requirements are becoming more stringent. And now the Indian authorities, when you are remitting money outside India, the details are captured, through the bank. They get the details, and you need to answer to the banks as well as, the Indian authorities, etc. You need to explain to them what is the source of money, how have you earned this money. So of course, we don't have to go too much into detail, but we need to keep in mind that questions will be asked. If you're sending money outside India, you should be in a position to explain, substantiate it with your income tax returns that yes, you indeed have money to send outside India. Of course, when you are holding assets outside India, it is your duty to disclose that in your income tax returns. Many people continue to do that. You are not aware about this provision. They may be having assets outside India and they don't know how to disclose that in the income tax return. So nowadays, the income tax returns ask you for a lot of information. And one part is you need to disclose whatever assets you are earning outside India. Not only that, the money that you are earning on your overseas investment has to be included in your income tax return in India, and you need to pay tax on it. Of course, there are certain tax benefits and tax credits available. So does not necessarily mean that you have to pay tax in foreign country as well as in India. There are certain set-offs and tax benefits available, but the disclosure has to be made. Also, many people come and ask us whether they can borrow in India to invest overseas or they can borrow overseas. Now, this is easier said than done. It's not possible. You have to look into it. We have to look at various factors, whether how are you borrowing it? Are you borrowing it in individual capacity? Or are you borrowing it as a company? Are you borrowing it as a business? And it has to be looked properly. The answer is not simple yes or no. So all these factors will have to be considered when you are planning your immigration. Right, friends? With this, I will end my presentation, and I would be happy. I'm sure you would be having a lot of questions. I would be happy to take your questions, and we have kept adequate time aside for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karia. This was quite an informative session to go with, and I think most of the questions of the people watching right now is already answered, and it's really motivating to see that we still have approximately 78 people watching right now. So this is a phenomenal number to go with. So to start with, in fact, there were a few questions which came from different segments altogether, and we have clubbed it as per the region to make it more specific. So we have received questions specifically from the Canadian perspective. So the question was, can my children get education and employment benefit under resident status?
Yes. If your children are resident in Canada, then they will get all the benefits which a Canadian resident will get. So in terms of education benefit, you will get a fees benefit, right? As a Canadian resident, you pay almost 1/5 or 1/4 of the fees which an international student will pay. For example, in case of University of Toronto, if you're going there for your graduation, then the fees for international students is approximately 63,000 Canadian dollars, whereas per term, right, per year. And if you are a Canadian resident, then the same will become about 13,000 Canadian dollars. So you can see that the benefit is almost 1/5. You are paying almost 1/5 of the fees. So if you are a Canadian resident, you get this benefit.
Fantastic. Another question for Canada is it possible to involve my parents as a part of single application?
Well, in the application, you can include yourself, your spouse, and children below 22 years of age.
Okay.
So parents, not only in Canada, you cannot include your parents, but then Canada has something else. They have a concept of what is known as super visa. So under super visa, you can sponsor your parents and they can come and stay with you as visitors for extended period of time. Also, many times Canada allows, they have these draws whereby you can sponsor your parents and grandparents for permanent residency. So off and on, at times, maybe once a year or so, they come out with the straws and people have to apply for their parents. And if they're lucky, they get selected.
Fantastic. Moving on further, I would firstly like to ask you a question regarding the new news which was out regarding the EB5 program, where they have reduced the rate to 500,000 USD. So that is something which actually keeping everybody on the foot and just want to see what possibilities are there.
Absolutely.
So can you elaborate a little more as to what is the time frame for that and how they can actually apply for that too?
Right. So this has been the buzz and it has kept me awake all night. I was up till 3 in the morning and again 6 o'clock I got up. And we have, this has come suddenly out of the blue. We were not expecting it. It is, let me explain to you this concept, what it is. There is a lot of misconception again regarding this concept and people would want to know this, right? So as we know that in this EB5 program, the investment amount was 500,000 US dollars up to November 2019. Thereafter, the US government passed a regulation saying that this investment amount has now been increased to 900,000. Right? And all throughout till now, from November 2019, from 22nd November 2019 till now, the investment amount continues to remain at 900,000. Now, what had happened, a private party, had challenged this decision of the US government to increase the amount on the technical ground, right? It was not on the basis of intention or anything. They found some technical lacuna or flaws in the process and, in the manner in which this amount was increased. And they filed an appeal against that. So the result of that appeal came about 2 days back. And in that appeal, the lower court has taken a decision that yes, the process of increasing this amount or the manner in which it was done was not correct. Thereby, that order of increasing the amount has been set aside. Now, people are still, technically, people are still studying, looking at it, and trying to understand what are the consequences. It's been a very short while, but broadly, the understanding among the industry is that since the ruling means that the increase in the amount has now been invalidated. So we are going back to the rule which was before November 2019, which means investment amount is 500,000. Right now, well, yes, it looks very exciting that it is 500,000, but practically this is not possible for people to actually, very few people can take advantage of it. Why? Because the EB5 program, it is not a continuous program. It is a program which the US government keeps renewing every time. So the current EB5 program is coming to end in 30th June. So in the next about 4 to 5 days, this program will end. And once the program ends, they will not be able to take any further investment or application under the program unless this program is renewed. And when it is renewed, a new bill will be passed. And the intention of the US government has always been to keep this amount at 900,000. So whenever they renew this program, it could happen in, after 30th June, it could happen in September, one doesn't know. But whenever they increase this, it will become 900,000 again. So there is a short window of opportunity available for people who want to take this advantage of 500,000 if they can put together the money, if they can put together the file and the documentation, etc., and send the money to US along with the detailed documentation before 30th of June, then they may be able to file their EB5 application with 500,000. There is a possibility. So people are scrambling around to take advantage of this opportunity. How many of them are able to do it, whether practically it is possible to do all this together and reach that milestone needs to be seen. Yes, if somebody is ready with the money, if somebody has got the documents ready, then they stand a good chance. Otherwise, practically and logistically, it is very, very difficult to do it in such a short period of time, considering we have 2 days of holidays in between.
Okay, fantastic. A question which is more general says OCI card holders are they eligible to visit India without visa? I think that's something.
Of course. Of course, that is the biggest advantage. The biggest advantage of OCI card is you get a lifetime multiple entry visa to India. So once you have an OCI card, you don't need to apply. Any Indian, any person of Indian origin who's a foreign citizen and has an OCI card can just take a flight and come to India.
Okay, fantastic. So there is a question for Portugal. Am I liable to pay dual tax on permanent residency or citizenship status for Portugal specifically?
Well, like I said, dual citizen taxation is a subject which we need to look at the individual circumstances of the case. But by and large, what happens is dual citizenship means that you pay tax in your home country as well as in the foreign country where you have a residency and where you have a source of income. So on the same income, you are paying tax at two places. Now, generally, most of the countries, especially India has a double taxation avoidance agreement, DTAA treaty, with most of the countries, which says that, look, if a person, if an Indian person is paying tax in home country as well as foreign country, then we should give him some benefit and set off and not subject him to double taxation. So this kind of a treaty exists with most of the countries. We need to see what is the source of income, which tax bracket you are, and accordingly you can get a set off, you can get a credit in India for the tax paid in overseas or vice versa.
Okay, fantastic. And there is another question for Portugal again. Is there a fast track option for citizenship in Portugal?
Well, there is no fast track option. This is the fastest. In fact, this is one of the fastest way of getting European Union citizenship. There are other countries which offer golden visa, like Spain, like you have Greece, you have Italy also, which has started a new program. But under all those programs, it is going to take you at least 7 to 10 years to get the citizenship, and that too you will have to live in those countries. So Portugal is the only country which gives you after 5 years, and that also without having to stay in that country.
I think Portugal is again getting quite charger for one of the preferred destination for investments by Indians, because there is another question which came for Portugal again. Does it have a government approved investment and available financing options from banks as well?
Yeah. So first question, whether it is government approved investment, there are two types of investments available. One is a real estate. So in real estate, you have to invest in a property. You can invest 500,000 euros in any property of your choice. You can go to Portugal, you can look at a house over there. Just like you buy a house in India, you go there, pick up a house, invest. You have to produce the deed, you have to register the agreement, and when you are applying for your golden visa, you have to give that registered deed to the authorities. Look, I've done the investment, and they will accept your application. So you are free to choose any property if you are investing 500,000 euros. The second category is where you can invest lesser amount of 350,000 euros or 280,000 euros, depending upon the location. If it is in city, it is 350,000. If it is some interior location, then it could be 280,000. However, under this category, you can only invest in properties which are old properties, more than 30 years old, and which have been approved by the government for redevelopment. So these are redevelopment properties, right? But the redevelopment of the property has to be approved by the local government. The third option that you have is you can invest in venture capital investment fund. So these are venture capital funds which invest in closely held companies. So this again, the funds are approved by the Portuguese Securities Commission. So yes, these are the options available.
Fantastic. Apart from that, this is a very common question which comes most of the time, and I'm not surprised it is coming again. It says that if I plan to choose in the EU access programs, does the option of minimum investment in one particular program make more sense than a reasonably high on investment program on the other? So basically, he wants to understand if there is a program which is giving you EU access and there is a comparatively a price difference between the two for investment. Does it make sense to take the one which is providing you which is comparatively lower in price compared to the one which is higher in price for EU access?
Which country?
It's in general. They are saying that if they want to basically plan and take the EU access by investing in a particular country. So say for example,
European Union, yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
there are multiple options for doing so, and in few countries then the prices are comparatively low, and there are other countries which are comparatively higher in that case. So does it make sense to take the one which is the lower one or the higher one? What will be the difference as such?
Right. Here again, Mayank, I would say it all depends upon what is your objective and what is your affordability, right? Which country you would like to settle in will depend upon, where you enjoy a good lifestyle. What is your objective? If your objective is to go and actually live in that country, then you need to see which country is more suitable to you. Would a country like Latvia is a cold, very cold, kind of an ex-Russian country with very small population, and it offers very cheap, option. So would you like to go and stay over there, or would you like to go and stay in a well-known established country like, say, Portugal or Spain, which is very large economy, which has good Indian population, which has good weather and a lifestyle, right? Again, it also depends upon what is your objective. If your objective is to get citizenship and passport of that country, then you need to see how you can get that and how quickly you can get that. For instance, if you want a citizenship, Greece, for example, offers you a EU residency for just 250,000 euros. But in case of Greece, if your objective is to get EU citizenship, you will have to wait for 7 years. And not only that, you will also have to go and live in Greece for a certain number of years. At least 50% of the time you have to stay in Greece in order to become eligible for citizenship. Whereas in case of Portugal, you may have to invest a little more, but you get your citizenship after 5 years, and you don't need to go and live over there. So I would say it all again depends upon your objectives, your circumstances, and how much you are willing to pay.
Makes sense. Actually, to summarize a bit, I think first of all, you need to understand the benefits of investing in that country in terms of the healthcare, education, of course, the lock-in period, and what will be the amount that you're going to invest in. So all these factors aggregate together, and then accordingly, one can actually take a decision as to which one is the best to go with. Another question for UK specifically, it says, how do I buy an existing business in the UK? Also, can I get a PR status post that? If yes, is there a minimum period to stay in, a minimum period of stay included in it?
Yeah. So when it comes to UK, like we mentioned over here, that there is an innovation, UK business, the Innovator program. If you have an innovative business, then you can set it up over there, and you can get, 3 years visa. After 3 years, if your business is successful, you can apply for citizenship. There are some other ways. UK does not have that option now. Earlier, it had what was known as the entrepreneur visa, under which you could invest 2 lakh pound, but that program has now been discontinued and replaced with the Innovator visa.
Okay, fantastic. And I think I'll take this last question. It says, is it necessary to take residency or citizenship to extend an office in FTZ of that country? Also, what could be the tax implication if yes?
Sorry, to set up an
It says
SEZ.
to set up an office in the free trade zone of that country. Does it require to take a residency or citizenship program? And what could be the tax implication in that case?
Right.
So
It
I think,
depends. See,
yeah.
many countries offer this free trade zones. You can set up it varies from country to country. Let's say if you want to set up in the Middle East, Dubai or some other country, it's not necessary for you to take up citizenship. There are certain pockets or areas, where you can, without taking up a citizenship, set up your company over there, and they give you a lot of tax benefits. So depending upon which country, what are the options, what are your business objectives, this needs to be seen.
Okay, great. And to add on, I think virtual offices are the ones which all these major FTZs are offering. So one can opt for that instead of anything else. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, great. So I would also like to inform all the audience who are watching us right now that you can ask any questions on the same page itself. You can see there is a tab which says Ask Question, and those questions will be directly going to Mr. Paresh Karia on his email address. So he will revert to you accordingly for that too. And in case you need any kind of assistance in connecting with Mr. Paresh Karia, please feel free to call us. All the details are available in the mail which was sent to you in reply to your registration. Moving on, I would request Mr. Naveen Seth, our Assistant Secretary General, to give the concluding remarks for the same.
Thank you, Mayank, and thank you, Pareshji, for a detailed presentation. I think almost all the points you have covered and the queries which were there, you have been able to give the replies to that. And as Mayank mentioned, that all the participants can send their queries after this event also which will go to Paresh directly, and he will definitely get back to you on those. And from PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we can assure you that we are always there as your extended arm, and we would like to work very closely with you on all these activities, and look forward to have many more such sessions with you. So with this, I would like to thank you once again for being here with us today, and thank all the participants who have spent their time today with us. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mayank, for coordinating this so nicely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Mayank, for giving us an opportunity of us being associated with you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much,
Bye-bye.
Mr. Karia. Thank you so much.
Yeah.